So, what was your definitive meridian? Oh, yes, that's right, yes. Okay, so Anne's got a governing vessel as a definitive meridian. So we'll just test the strong indicator muscle, and then we'll, yeah, you do preliminary workup. All right, everything's working. Okay, so do a strong muscle, and then do the definitive point on the top of the head. So touch on the definitive point. Probably, yes, okay, there. Test her just in the clear there in case she's got a cranial fault. Okay, no, good. Now go on the governor vessel, which is on the top lip there. And what should happen is she goes weak. Now take the one off the head off. That's it. And see if she weakens in the clear there. No. So, great. We're out of sync. All right? So now, where is she? Okay. Tell us, did you say you've got an infection? I had an infection. Yeah, a chest infection is last time. Have you been coughing? Yeah. Yes. I had this when I came back from Paris. I was telling people, who else has got a cough? Somebody else had a cough. You've got a cough. You've got a cough. Yeah. Isn't it fantastic? It just doesn't shift, does it? Okay. I'll tell you the answer in a minute. Okay. Did you have a holiday, Christine? For 3 months you had it? Oh, it's never cleared? Okay. Have you had a holiday, Chris? Oh, you've had 10 years of it. That's given Julian a lot of hope, isn't it? You know, it's terrible, Julian. They've had it for 10 years. Christine's only had it for 3, so sorry. How long have you had yours? 3 months. Yes. And have you had a holiday? In May. You had a holiday in May. You'll understand why I'm going to tell you why it's important, what it is, because obviously now you understand it's vitamin D. Okay, so you need massive doses usually, but it has to be the right form of it. Okay, so let's stack on now is that the yang ones? The yang ones, yeah. Stack on the yang ones, okay? So you hold, you got the flashing. Okay, now, let me just show them. With the torch, once you charge it up, there's 3 programs on it, okay? One of these programs is a flashing, slow flashing. If you press the button again, it goes to an ordinary one, all right? If you press it again, it's ordinary. If you press it again, it's ordinary. And then the next one is a quite fast flashing one. Don't panic. Just press it and restart it, or go to slow, and then the program goes on. Apparently with the newer torches we've got, there's some little thing you can turn and change the programs on it to alter. This one you can't. But remember, these are 2,000, this is 2,200. Most of the new ones that we got are 2,000, but they're still enough to damage your eyes if you look in them, which is why that, you know, they're not for therapy in the eyeball. Right? So you must keep them down, keep them looking at the patient. They will emit, they're cold, you know, when you touch it, but as you'll see later on, when they go through the acetate, they warm the acetate up. Okay, because light equates to heat, and heat equates to light, and so on. It's amazing how quickly the acetate will warm up, of certain colours more than others. Any luck there? So she's strong, so she's probably not that batch. So your speed will tell you that it will be the other batch, but you might as well just show them to. So if it's not the yang, it must be a yin. Which is interesting because the governor vessel we count as a yin one, so it means she's got a double yin come up. Okay, so now do them one at a time. Let's find out where she is. Now, before you do it, Anne has told us she's got an infection with a cough, did you say? Yes. So where do you think she's going to be? Lung, yes. So let's see if she is. So let's start off with...
Governor, well, not governor vessel.
No, she's not on governor.
No. Liver.
Liver. Is she liver? Who's going to put their money? Wait. Who's going to put their money on liver? Any hands go up there? No? Oh, yes, there's somebody here who says it's liver. Okay, we've got one. So, what odds? None now. So, it's not liver. Okay.
Spleen.
Spleen. Could be. Immune system. Yeah. A lot of things. A lot of money went on that one. They're quiet now, aren't they?
Kidney.
Kidney. Ooh, could be. Kidney and infections? What do you think? Yeah, no. Not for a cough.
Circulation sex.
Thanks. Stop there.
Yep.
Don't discard circulation sex or excitatory neurotransmitters, because what excites the brain also excites the immune system. Okay, don't forget it. The immune system is a mobile version of the brain. So the glutamate and aspartate are actually things, although they're amino acids, they're neurotransmitters, excitatory, which actually stimulates the immune system as well as the brain. So it can be that. So
Is that going to be heart?
heart. Yes. No. So
My money's on this one.
is that the last one?
Yes.
Yes. So her money's on this last. Anybody else putting their money on here? Okay.
Heart, lungs,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So well decided. Overwhelming. So it's obvious, isn't it? She's got stuck in the lung, but she shouldn't be there. Okay, and that's why. So let's try, before we treat her, try a few lung-related muscles. Okay. So we've got 3, haven't we? We've got deltoids, we've got serratus anterior, and we've got coracobrachialis.
Okay. So, anterior serratus. Oh. We'll do it or not? Okay.
Nah. Okay, so deltoid, do deltoid. Okay, coracobrachialis.
Like that,
Yeah, up there.
Yeah.
So press down there. No, so it seems to be serratus on that side. Try serratus on this side. Serratus is really a stabilizer of the scapula. So usually don't take it quite so far back. Lift it up a little bit more, that's it. And then she's going to press that. So is that NAF as well?
Yes.
Okay, so once we've got to tune back in, she should be at least have gone from there, and then she'll go back to the governor vessel. Okay, right, off we go. Let's put on now the governor vessel. Interesting, it works if you put on the other one as well, so it doesn't really matter, but at least we know now, we can understand why she's got the symptoms that she has. Okay, we don't have to know that, but it's interesting, isn't it, to know that she's lung, all right? Good, hard tap, 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 tap. That's it. She's got the governor vessel. The governor vessel is a sort of orangey red type of colour. So muscle associated with the governor vessel is the teres major. All right, she's back in. Okay, so let's try the lung meridian colour on again. So she should, with a bit of luck, be strong there. Good. Okay, now test the serratus anterior. Take the colour off and test the serratus anterior. So all that should have gone now with a bit of luck. So that's all in her past. And then she should get therapy localized to the governor vessel in the clear. Okay, and now go to the governor vessel in the clear, and she should be weak. So she's tuned in now. How long will she stay like that? Not long, I don't think, because she's got an infection, and she's got an infection. So as soon as we treated the infection, then she can start to stay in there. But we'll find out in a minute what made her go off, because if we therapy localize there or use the color, which is easier, then we just do our eye positions and find out what is the cause. Okay, okay, so good, excellent. Okay. So what were we coming to? Okay, so before we sort of workshop, so you can be cutting, if you've got scissors. Has anybody got, how are you doing with yours? So anybody need some scissors? Yeah, there you go. Job done there. Have you got some more scissors over there that we can borrow? No? There was a pair there. Oh, they're out. Has anybody got scissors that they're not using? Stick them up. If you've got them, yeah. Keep handing the scissors on as soon as you've used them. Otherwise you won't be able to workshop. You can't chuck the whole laminate on. Okay, so one of the causes of biophoton color emissions. This is an interesting concept. As I said, Fritz Popp was convinced it was to do with DNA and biophoton light being emitted from some force within the coiled structure of the DNA. And it may be right, but it doesn't make sense to me because 80% of the energy that we produce in the body comes from heat. And the only place in which we produce energy in the body is the mitochondria. We produce a little bit in the cytoplasm with glycolysis, but really not that much. But we produce a lot of heat and therefore energy and therefore light, because heat exchanges to light and light into heat quite readily, converting. So the possibilities here are quite specific, but there are other possibilities as well. And one of these is gas chromatography of dogs smelling cancer. We tried to run that film, do you remember before, but we couldn't get the sound, and we could get the sound but not the vision. Have you got it? You haven't got it with you, but I think you... Yes, okay. We'll have another go later and show you the film with Billy Boyle. What is quite interesting is that experiments, and you're probably aware of these, are that dogs can smell parts of 3 billion to 1, which is more efficient than the best chromatography and devices, which can go up to 2 billion to 1, which is pretty good. So in other words, anything which is in the air that they can smell smarter than any machine. Eventually, I'm sure we'll find a machine which will be even better than that. But what they discovered is that dogs can actually smell patients with cancer. And they did experiments by putting tumor cells into different dishes on this film. And we're trying to run the film, but we won't be able to run the sound unless we've got the two together. We'll try it tonight anyway. And the dog was able to detect out which meat had the cancerous tumor in it. Well, nowadays, of course, if it's canned dog food, it's probably all of them, isn't it? They've got the cancer in it, because that's what they do. You know the old thing with the chicken quarters. Never buy chicken quarters because they're quartered, because the ones that have got tumours are cut out. So they cut you into 4 and discard the one with the tumour and then put the other one into chicken quarters. All right? But the one that's discarded isn't discarded because apparently it goes into pet food. Okay? Yeah. So, we'll probably get shot for saying that, but once you understand that and ask people with meat packing industry, they'll tell you that. They discard nothing in the meat industry. It all goes in. So have you not wondered, when I was a boy, we had a dog. You only ever took the dog to the vet if it cut itself. You'd occasionally heard of distemper and things like that, mange, but you never heard of a dog having a tumour. Now every other dog has a tumour and every cat seems to die of tumours, don't they, or they have them put down. Why? It's got to be the food, isn't it? It's got to be the food that they eat. It's disgusting, you know, what they eat. Whereas a dog should eat meat. Shouldn't eat cereals. A dog doesn't in the nature eat grain, and it doesn't drink milk. You remember last year, I think it was, or the year before, we showed, did you come to the one with Pottinger's cats? I think the film where we did Pottinger's cats, that's probably the year before. The state of these cats when they drank pasteurized milk and cooked meat and things. Okay, so this is really interesting because many patients have said and reported that the dog won't leave the person alone, will sit on the bed all the time and really get quite fidgety if the patient has a tumour, because they pick it up. Therefore, what Billy Boyle found was his own wife had stage 4 colon cancer, and it wasn't detected. She had no symptoms at all, but it had already spread. And you know, he wanted to know how come. You know, there must be a way of detecting cancer that severe, which wasn't producing symptoms at that particular time. And he'd then heard about dogs smelling cancer, so you could have a dog scan, not a cat scan. You have a dog cat scan. So this would be very effective, but we don't know what we're looking for. The dog just knows there's a smell associated with cancerous growth. So he started investigating in, and they've looked at now 200 different volatile organic chemicals. And many of these, when I started reading about them, are ones which we put in our kits. You know, when you look in your kits, you often see many of these, ethane and so on, and ammonia and phenol. They're all volatile chemicals that the body produces when there's problems. You know, we know that ammonia is when you've got an infection or parasites. phenol, toluene, and so on. So a lot of them are interesting because we've already picked them up. But he's come up with a device which normally chromatography machines are huge and hugely expensive. And he's come up with building a device which isn't ready for the market yet, which apparently is the size of a thumbnail and it's a chip that goes into your computer or into something in the computer. And you blow in a bag which looks remarkably like a breathalyzer. And out on the screen will be all the printout of what the computer has been programmed for. So if you program it for ethane, it'll come out and tell you whether your breath has ethane in it and how much. So you program it in for butyric acid, propionic acid, ammonia, phenol, and so on. So they're building up databases of hundreds of these volatile organic chemicals. That means that they're in gaseous forms at body temperature. So they're in the breath. You know, they're doing other machines which will do the urine and the feces and the sweat and so on. But the breath is the easiest. And this will be the future. That you will go and see your doctor, and maybe you'll have this machine soon, and we know, and you go and the patient breathes in the bag. And out on the screen will come out all these readings, and you can say, oh, you know, this person has likely to got whatever it might be. You know, if they got ethane, we know they're short of essential fatty acids and so on. So we were pretty impressed with this, and hope to do some work with them, with the team. But what I wanted to try and do was to put these sort of biomarkers into a protocol to looking at different body systems. So this is the seminar that we're going to do in November here and in Bristol in the middle of October. So we're going to take, say, cardiovascular system. And we will say these are the markers that we would suggest that you use for analyzing a person's cardiovascular system. You know, ApoE2, 3, 4, homocysteine, and so on. The simple ones are biomarkers there. And this would be the likelihoods of the sort of remedies that you might consider. Okay? Then we'll take another system, so thyroid system. And when you think about it, inflammation, a lot of people come and see osteopaths, chiropractors for inflammation, for pain. What markers do you use? Do you use C-reactive protein and so on? And then even more straightforward, simple systems like vision. So if you take vision, how do you test a person for macular degeneration? What is the simple test for that? What is a simple test for a cataract? What's a simple test for glaucoma? The common causes of blindness in this day and age. Very easy with muscle testing if you've got the right equipment. Yeah. And I'll go through a few of those, over the weekend. But the main thing is that, that particular seminar is about just the protocols. So you will say, I've got a patient with such and such a thing. What do you do? And, this is really quite a fascinating job to do. So you get the dog in. And get the dog to run through. So dog smelling cancer is just one aspect of these volatile organic compounds. So Sam, you sent me this some time ago. This is a dog scan. Dog scan going on. I don't know how they line them up, but they did a beautiful job there. So another possibility is that with the volatile chemicals, because the volatile chemical has a spectroscopic emission. Every substance in the universe has a spectroscopic emission, that therefore ammonia will have a particular color which is different from phenol and so on. So it is possible that these volatile organic compounds that come out through the lungs could have a luminosity if you can just amplify the luminosity and see. But the other one, which I was really much more keen on, was reactive oxygen species, or free radicals, we just call them, although not all reactive oxygen species are free radicals. And when I learned that certain ones have a green color and certain ones have a blue, peroxynitrite has a violet color and so on, it made sense to me, because most people have got inflammation, that this is an inflammatory process that we're seeing and reacting to. So this is what we come up with so far. Okay. Now we've got a lot of work to do still here, but superoxide tends to equate with red. So the gas, superoxide, displays a red in the spectrum. Hydrogen peroxide displays orange. Hydroxyl is yellow. Singlet oxygen is green. Nitric oxide is blue. Hypochlorite is indigo. And peroxynitrite is violet. Now, we've added since then, and of course, the meridians to go with that. So, unfortunately, Anne was a governor vessel, which is not one of the yang ones. So Sophie, were you a bladder, weren't you? Yes, okay. So the bladder is a violet. Could we just borrow you back a minute? Have you got, Jill, the reactive oxygen species? So if we just go back to Sophie, who was bladder, which is a yang meridian. So we're going to need peroxynitrite. So peroxynitrite is a mixture of nitric oxide, NADPH, and superoxide. So here's the codes, how you make each of the reactive oxygen species. So what you'll find here is, just check her that she's violet still, that she hasn't just zapped back to her old kidney problems. Because we've left her, she may have gone back into a state of adaptation. We obviously wouldn't leave her normally. So let's see if she's still... Yeah, she's gone back, hasn't she? She's not...
There, she's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now try the peroxynitrites combo. So the peroxynitrite is generally considered to be the most reactive of all reactive oxygen species. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is why perhaps, because she's got big inflammation going on, which is perhaps why her scale of health is down to 50. So we've got to find the answer to her, and really we need to do that before the end of the day. Okay? So if you just put her on hold, you sit down, we'll put her on hold for a bit. Okay, so if we can go back, Gary, onto the screen. So they've got a bag. Have you got these in your bag? If you're not, there is a bag available of these. We gave them out at the last seminar. So superoxide is basically superoxide and NADPH would be the two markers. Remember these things, the actual reactive oxygen species, or the free radicals, are unstable. They only last for a fraction of a second. So you have to mix the ingredients. So the body, you're simulating the effect of it. So you simulate the superoxide and then the NADPH. Hydrogen peroxide is a reactive oxygen species. It's not a free radical, so it's stable. So you can use hydrogen peroxide. Hydroxyl radical is superoxide plus hydrogen peroxide. Singlet oxygen is hydrogen peroxide and hypochlorite. Nitric oxide is nitric oxide. Hypochlorite, that's like high salt bleach basically, is hydrogen peroxide and sodium chloride and NADPH. And the dreaded peroxynitrite is nitric oxide and NADPH and superoxide. So that's how basically we found with the yang ones. We're working on the yin ones now. So it's interesting, some of the yin ones are coming up with, the data isn't complete at this stage, with prostaglandins, PGE2 and leukotrienes and so on, all seem to fit much more into the yin ones. So what we know is that the opposite color will be the therapeutic one. So interestingly, for Sophie, who is bladder, the opposite color will be the kidney, and that will actually give her therapeutic one. In Anne's case, the opposite one to the governor vessel is the conception vessel. So these will be the therapeutic color. But when would you administer the color? Okay, you could do it if you had no other tools at all, and you were out in space on your mission to Jupiter, you had no other tools, you could use the color therapy and try and boost the energy up in the person. So, Sophie, if I get you back now, what I want to show you is where to go from this point to keep you on tender toes for tomorrow. So this is the light. We do have. Have we got any of the lights left, George? And are they all gone? The torches? You have to go to Amazon, I'm afraid. So you remember, you must with these torches take the cellophane off the battery. All right. Otherwise, you won't be able to charge them up. Get the one that is on there, or the 2000 lumen. All right. The standard torch, the standard torch is what you use for the Miron bottles, Miron glass, is 20 or 30 lumen. Okay, that's the difference. All right. So the LED one is 2000. So that's why you don't look at it. It's very, very powerful. So if you do use it for therapy, it sometimes heats the acetate up. if it's a dark acetate. If it's a paler one, the light goes through and it doesn't usually heat up. But it can heat it up, so don't always, if the patient complains about it getting hot, don't say, oh, don't worry about that. Because you don't want them coming away actually with a red mark around them. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pop the acetate on, which is the kidney, which is the bladder. Okay. So put a bladder acetate on. Take the strong muscle, which should now be in weakness. Okay.